One of the reasons why you memorize the list of verbs is so that you would be able to identify which words in the sentence could be linking verbs or possibly action verbs. Seems, grows, remains, appears, becomes, stays, scrabs can be both linking verbs or action verbs. The forms of to be, am, are, is, was, were, be, being, been, can be linking verbs, but sometimes they're helping verbs. Today's lesson will review how you tell the difference between a linking verb and an action verb. Linking verbs are like equal signs. They tell you what something is. So if you look at the sentence, the story is interesting, we can substitute an equal sign for the form of to be and it still makes sense. Story equals interesting. The word interesting is an adjective describing the story. Remember, only linking verbs have predicate adjectives and predicate nouns, so that every sentence that has a linking verb will look like subject, linking verb, and then the predicate adjective, or predicate noun. Action verbs do not have predicate adjectives or predicate nouns. They have something else. Therefore, our goal is to distinguish between linking verbs and action verbs. Remember, these are the words that we're looking for: scrabs and the five senses: look, sound, smells, taste, feels. Take a moment and copy down these notes. If you need more time, ask the teacher to pause while you finish copying, and when you're ready to continue, resume. If you have to pause and take some time to copy down the rest of the notes, do so now. If not, continue on to the next slide. In order to tell the difference between linking verbs and action verbs, you first have to identify the word in question. Here are two examples. Using the word feel, I feel sad, and here in the sentence, I feel the fabric, you have one example of a linking verb and another example of an action verb. In this sentence, you look happy. Look is acting like a linking verb. In this sentence, however, you look for money. It's acting like an action verb. Remember, action verbs are what the subject does. Linking verbs are what the subject is. Good news is, there's a test that you can use to help distinguish and determine whether or not the verb in question is a linking verb or an action verb. It has two major steps. Step 1, take out the verb and put in an equal sign. So in the sentence, I feel sad, if we take out the word feel and put in an equal sign, it says I equals sad. Does sad describe the subject? Yep. So this passes the first test. I equal the fabric does not pass the test because fabric is not describing the subject, I. It must pass both tests in order to be considered a linking verb. In step number 2, you take out the verb again, only this time you put in a form of to be. Am, are, is, was, were, be, being, been. Put in the form of the verb of to be that makes sense. So if it says we, you'll say we are, not we is. In this sentence, I feel sad, I take out the word feel and put in I am sad. And does it still make sense without changing the meaning? Yes. So this passes the second test. I am the fabric does not make sense. So this fails the second test. It must pass both tests in order to be considered a linking verb. Let's take a look at some examples that you'll do for practice. This page can be used as notes. You can use these to remind yourself how to practice using the test. Step 1. The bamboo forest seems magical at sunset. I know that the linking verb in this case is the word seems. The first thing that I'm going to do is take out the word seems and put in an equal sign. The bamboo forest seems magical at sunset. I can find the subject of the sentence by asking what or who seems. Forest. Forest seems what? Magical is a predicate adjective that's describing forest. If I go slow and ask myself, the forest equals magical, that makes sense, so it passes the first test. Can I take out the form here and put in a form of to be? The forest is magical at sunset? Yep. So this passes both tests. The word seems is a linking verb. Woodland fairies live under the mushroom caps. I know that the word live is not on my list of words that I memorized. So before I even begin, I know that this is going to be an action verb. However, let's test it out just to see. Fairies equal under the mushroom caps? Is under the mushroom caps describing fairies? No, it's telling you where they are. So this is an action verb. They grow the mushrooms on fairy farms. They equal mushrooms? No. They are the mushrooms on fairy farms? No. Since this fails both tests, it must be an action verb. I can always go back and ask, what is they doing? In this sense, the subject, they, are actually growing something. It's an action. It's something that they are doing, not something that they are. Sentence number 4. Their houses remain one of the many mysteries of the world. I'm not saying that their houses stay behind. I'm saying that their houses equal one of the many mysteries. I'm saying that their houses are one of the many mysteries. And since it passed both tests, this is a linking verb. Magicians arrive from around the world. Magicians equal from around the world. In this sense, to get the answer, I have to think, are the magicians actually arriving? Is arriving something that the magicians are doing? And since it is, I know that this is an action verb. It sounds unbelievable. It equals unbelievable. It is unbelievable. This is a linking verb. They appear at sunset. They equal at sunset. They are at sunset. This doesn't quite make sense. And appearing is something that they are doing. So I know that this is an action verb. You can look for fairies and never find one. Look is an action verb. It's something that you is doing. You can equal fairies. You can be for fairies. Since both tests fail, that's an action verb. They smell humans. They equal humans. They are humans. Is smelling something that they are doing? It is, so this is also an action verb. Fairy populations become invisible during